diversity of radio and TV stations all around the world. I think my friend Simona Martorelli will agree with me. Even in Europe, radio and TV stations are more than diverse, and she knows better than me that even in the framework of the European Union, it is up to every country to decide to define the public service remit. But beyond that, beyond our diversity, we all face more or less the same problems. We have the same enemies, and we are here together to find solutions. So it is a session about solutions broadcasters present in order to serve communities. And speaking about diversity, I remember that more than 5 years ago, when we first discussed with Dr. Javad Motagi about the opportunity of organizing Media 2020 conference, about gathering European and Asian broadcasters, about our capacity to create a bridge, a dialogue between continents, I always had in mind a painting, an image. I would like to share now with you. And I am kindly asking our friend Siva Kumar to put this image on the screen.
Чтобы эту картинку показали на экране. Да, вот эта картинка.
Is it possible to have it bigger?
Можно увеличить?
Thank you.
Большое спасибо.
A bit longer, if possible.
Немножко длиннее, если сделать.
Sure.
Если возможно. Хорошо.
So, in fact, what you see is
что вы видите? Да. Хорошо.
If it is not working, you can use your imagination. Anyway, it is.
Возможно, вы не очень часто это используете.
It is a Romanian painting from the 19th century. It is a ballroom. The painter is our biggest artist of the 19th century. And what you see is, if you want, an ordinary image of the Romanian high society. What I would like you to show is that, and it was absolutely normal at that time, you have the Romanian aristocracy. You can hopefully see people wearing French clothes, very fashionable, Napoleon style ball gowns for ladies and jackets for gentlemen, but also Turkish kaftan, Armenian hats, and many other elements from Asia, Europe and Asia together. The same society, wearing very different clothing, European and Asian, but what's the most important? They are all together in the same room. So, may I say this was Media 2020 of the 19th century. And we were used from that time to such diversity. That's why we were sure we can continue and we can host this dialogue. So let us start our second session about diversity, about dialogue between Europe and Asia, and we have for that the perfect moderator, not as it was precised in the program. So I am inviting Oya Buyar. She doesn't need any presentation. Her perfect Ukrainian-Australian background, it's and Canadian, living in Kuala Lumpur and heading radio department. So I am absolutely sure you are the best moderator. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. What an introduction. No wonder he's a Dr. Santa. Welcome. This is a session about diversity, and just a very small word for those who are not quite so used to the ABU about our diversity. So since I left last week to this week, we are slightly more diverse. So we have, the ABU has 276 members in 72 countries. Now, these countries, some of them are in Europe as associate members, like Radio Romania and others in this room. We have members such as Yurti, who are on the panel with me today, and others. And just about every country between, I think we go as far as Turkey, Central Asia, over to India, all of Asia, right down to Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands. So it's, we cover about good 2/3 of the globe, and I think it was over 2 billion people. I think we're getting to 3 now. So we have a very, very large remit in our region. So diversity is a very important factor for us. So today in the session, we're going to give you show you some examples of how people use diversity in their context. And our panel, I would like to invite them one by one just to join me on the stage. Flavia, Alexandra, Rudiger, and Mr. T, please. Can we come up and sit down here? So there will be a little bit of formality because it is a show and tell, so they have to show you something, and while they're showing you, they have to tell you about it. So, and afterwards we will take some questions from you and maybe from each other. So first up we have Flavia Voinea. Flavia is, as you can see here, she's manager of Bucharest FM Romania. Flavia has been a radio professional for a very long time, and she's going to talk about a very special project that Radio Romania has instituted a little while ago.
Hello, thank you very much. Yes, I would like to talk to you about a project that we have been doing for the last 5 years. You know, in 1989, Romania put an end to the communist regime, and years after, long time after that, people were still making jokes about the 5-year plan, which was very popular in the communist era. So it was very common to ask people, what have you done in the last 5 years? So if anybody is asking us, Radio Romania Regional Network, what have we done in the last 5 years, we can talk about a very complex program that is called I Choose Romania. That is called I Choose Romania. Somebody's playing with this. Okay.
Извините. Хорошо.
I Choose Romania is a program that has started because in this year, 2018, it will be 100 years since the formation of the Romania as it is in the present time, and it was the most important moment of the Romanian history. Everybody is talking now in this year about it. You can see the logo everywhere in the country, and each day new programs are being broadcasted on every station, private or commercial. But 4 years ago, the public station, the regional network of Radio Romania, was the first to receive our reverence, our sign of respect for the national values. That means that 4 years ago, we have been decided to do something every year to end the big project in the year when Romania will be 100-year anniversary. Regional network of Radio Romania means 8 regional stations. You can see here it will be 9 starting this fall, because in the middle, Antena Brașov will be a radio station of its own. We are covering most of the country with 17 programs, 13 regional and 4 locals. We have programs in 16 languages of ethnic minorities, a great diversity for us. 2 programs are dedicated entirely to Hungarian minorities. And according to the last survey in the beginning of this year, we are number 3 in the national area and number 1 in the rural area in the country. So 4 years ago, we have started this project, and it was like that.
The Great Union of 1918 has been and will remain the most sublime page in Romanian history. The Union took place amid a specific historical context and was the result of 3 successive events being accomplished democratically through assemblies of a representative nature. The Union with Romania of Bessarabia on the 27th of March 1918, Bucovina on the 28th of November 1918, and of Transylvania, Banat, Mușana, and Maramureș on the 1st of December 1918. To celebrate the 100th anniversary of the creation of Greater Romania in 2018, Radio Romania's regional network has implemented a project entitled I Choose Romania. Every year, Radio Romania's regional network, which includes Bucharest FM, Radio Cluj, Radio Constanța, Radio Oltenia Craiova, Radio Iași, Radio Reșița, Radio Târgu Mureș, and Radio Timișoara, captured on film special people, testimonies and images, footage that was incorporated into original content, showing the process by which a strong, dignified, and independent nation was built. A different series of the campaign I Choose Romania has been held every year since 2014 with the intention to cultivate national pride and promote the greatest values of the Romanian people that form part of world heritage. In 2014, we presented 100 places worth visiting, the most beautiful places in Romania that deserve to be known, visited and promoted, places that represent landmarks in Romanian history and which are filled with beauty, spirituality, culture, originality and wonder. In 2015, the project continued with 100 Romanians for the history of world science and culture. The personalities featured in this series contributed to the development of world science and the enrichment of world culture. 100 golden stories of Romanian sport dedicated to award-winning sportsmen and women and teams was the title of the 2016 edition. The audio and video content produced told the story behind every individual performance, the hard work, the sacrifice and the perseverance involved in the quest for achievement. Every year, for 100 days, the regional stations ran 100 different programs in their broadcasts, posted 100 films at eualegromania.ro, the websites of the regional stations and the campaign's YouTube channel, as well as 100 video ads on the Facebook and Twitter pages dedicated to the project. 8 production teams from across the country worked every year on the production of hundreds of hours of footage and audio content and thousands of hours of edits to illustrate the creation of Greater Romania. We are preparing a new collector series entitled 100 Unforgettable Romanian Songs, bringing together the most beautiful Romanian songs, both older and of a more recent date, project performed by great singers and whose lyrics go beyond words and time, undying songs that warm our hearts because so much heart was put into them. In 2018, when we celebrated the 100th anniversary of the creation of Greater Romania, the project comes to an end with a final series entitled 100 Defining Moments in the History of the Romanians, who fought for their social and cultural values and for passing them on to the next generations to preserve them and look after the language, the literature, the knowledge. I Choose Romania is intended as a permanent reminder that we are a people with a long and rich history and that we have a beautiful country with extraordinary people. I Choose Romania, a project of Radio Romania's regional network.
You can find everything on our website, ichooseromania.ro. We took this project outside in the middle of the communities with exhibition. And as an only radio company, I can tell you that in these 5 years we have learned a lot about video. This project will be finalized in this year. The final moment is on 1st of December, when we'll be really 100 years old. But the big thing is that we'll go even bigger exhibitions in the middle of the communities. That will be in 12 cities around the country, 10 big billboards with these movies in this area with heavy pedestrian traffic. This will be available for the public for at least 2 months, and the audience can see everything on the campaign because we have QR codes there and some Wi-Fi provider on every exhibition point. In Bucharest, this exhibition will be in the Old Town. It's a very beautiful place of Bucharest. It's the core of the young people. So we are inviting you there at the middle of September, starting the 15th of September. We are waiting for you to see this exhibition.
Приглашаем всех в Бухарест для того, чтобы вы увидели эту выставку и увидели Бухарест. Большое спасибо,
So this is an example of engaging audiences and showing off your communities in Romania, which is terrific because the theme of the session is actually about engaging audiences and serving your communities in different contexts. And we, as ABU, EBU, and other broadcasters, we kind of have our communities all over the world. It's no longer just our community in our own home country or in our sister country or neighboring country. And one of the people that can demonstrate that very well is our next speaker, who is Alexander Pletser. He's coordinator of international and EU programs for URTI. URTI, for everybody who doesn't know yet, is the Union of International Radio and Televisions. So it's based in Europe, and we recently, the URTI and ABU have been cooperating very closely, and Alexander is going to talk about that cooperation and show you what we're doing with our European counterparts. Alexander.
Thank you, Olia. Yes, I will tell you about a story that started in Media 2020 in Beijing 2 years ago. It was the first time I was invited in the ballroom. Thank you, by the way, to invite me again. And we start discussion, and we realize that there is an interest to develop exchange and best practice, possible co-production, etc. So, because we all face one terrible question. We have to fill in a multiplying platform to broadcast more and more content, and maybe we don't have the means to fill in all this ogre, in French, nourrir l'ogre. Day after day, we always to feed the monster. So, sorry. One of the solutions can be the exchange of program that we can have quickly and to show diversity to our audience in our various countries. So, since Beijing, we develop discussion in Bali, in the GA, ABU GA in Bali, the Media 2020 in Sinaya, and in Chengdu, we finally signed a memorandum of understanding to develop this exchange of programs. A quick presentation of URTI. URTI is an association born in 1949 after the war. It was created by UNESCO to develop exchange, cultural exchange. It was beginning with radio, then with television. Now it's open to the new media, and that's the goal of the URTI. We had 60 members on 4 continents, so we add Africa to your billions of people. So we have also various activities. We have radio and TV international prix, and main activity is the exchange of program. We have a catalog of 6,000 documentaries that we can give for free for URTI members, and with the MOU for some ABU members. We have also official partners, which are UN, UNESCO, CICR, ASBU, and ABU since years. We developed for the moment a platform. I show this slide since Bali. We developed it for our 6,000 documentaries on a user-friendly basis. I will come back because now it's concrete. We developed an exchange scheme between ABU members and URTI. There is 3 approaches. The simple approach is that selected members of ABU, interested members of ABU, become members of URTI under the supervision of ABU Directorate. We discuss the calculation member by member, and it's the same basis than the normal URTI members. And these members can use the platform of URTI, upload and download TV program, and use the TV program for free. We develop also a second approach. It's that ABU will support 10 up to 12 members, we discussed yesterday, to use this platform also. The exchange is very simple. URTI offers access to its URTI members and the EBU members to 6,000 programs of URTI catalog free of charge. And we ask that ABU new URTI members deliver their program for other URTI members. It means that Asian program will be broadcast on European and African television, and European and African program will be broadcast in Asian television, serving the communities with huge diversity. So we develop also a specific case to test this approach. After the Bali General Assembly, at the occasion of the Europalia activity about Indonesia and Belgium, we organized exchange between RTBF and Belgian television and TVRI in Indonesian television. So we already had European program in Asia and Asian program in Europe, between two television. Now we develop a larger scale test case, which is co-financed by the European Commission. It's an exchange between URTI and Chinese TV. We are already in contact with CCTV. We discussed yesterday, and we will still discuss it. The idea is to propose a program about touristic destination in Europe to be broadcast in China, and touristic destination in China to be broadcast in Europe, because it is the EU-China tourism year, so the European Commission supports us to develop this, and it will be a large-scale test. And at this occasion, we develop the new platform that I mentioned till 2 years now, and I have the pleasure to announce you it is online. It is the demo platform which is online, and I will make a quick demonstration. You have on the right where is the Where is the... not me too. Okay, you have on the right... You have on the right, the list of programs. Now you have 4, of course, there will be 100 in October. You have the possibility to see the program. I can try to click on the... I don't have the mouse, so if you can click on the program, you will see it. Maybe it's not the moment. You have the download possibility, which is clearly indicated. You can upload the subtitles in English, and it's already in technical format that allows you to translate it directly in. You will save a lot of money with this process, because we do it every time. And that's it for the moment. We have now this exchange platform that will be open to ABU members, first the Chinese members, but all the members that are already in the list of the 10, 12, and the other members who will join the project before October, November. It will be online. It will be in perfect functionality, so welcome. And please contact me or Olia to join the project. It's open to all the ABU members. And that's it.
Thank you, Alexandra. So yes, another way that we cooperate with each other across countries, across continents, and across our memberships, which is great. So it's my great pleasure now to introduce the next speaker, Mr. Rüdiger Landgraf. He's the first time with us, so welcome to the forum. Mr. Landgraf is the program director of Kronehit Radio in Austria. Now, I've been told that you're an expert on the future of commercial radio, so we are very much looking forward to his presentation. And Rüdiger is going to talk about an app that you've developed especially for radio.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind welcome. Okay. Technology is not the limit, shouldn't be the limit, because when you target towards a young audience, obviously things have changed quite a bit. For example, when you look at the number of radio sets that people own, this is data from the United States, you see it's down a lot. So about 10 years ago, only 4% of people said they don't own a radio. Now it's 29%. And it's getting even worse when you look towards the young audience. Half of the young audience don't have a radio set anymore at home. So obviously, if we want to get our content across the folks, we need to do something about this, because this good old radio set as a mean of distribution isn't so strong anymore like it used to be. And of course, this is also reflected in the usage. When we ask young people in the United States which kind of audio entertainment they use, number one is not AM/FM radio anymore, it's just here with 17%, whereas on-demand streaming, being Spotify, Pandora, and those guys, is up at 47%. And the simulcast of radio on digital devices, because you could always say, okay, but I'm still available on a computer, on an Amazon Alexa, or on a smartphone, that's a mere 2%, so it won't save you either. So radio was almost there. 10 years ago, all the radio stations started with a hooray and did a lot of radio apps. They started with streaming, and I think it was same in all markets that in the first few years when the iPhone came out or the Android devices came out, radio really topped the charts and the downloads of their apps and the installs of their apps. But from then on, not much happened. So radio pretty much stagnated. If you look at the chart here, you see the blue bar and the blue one and the red one, those giant dinosaurs fighting in the upper right corner, and way below down, you see the first radio group in the United States, which is iHeart. And the other radio stations, you hardly can see them because they are really glued to the x-axis. So they have no real growth there. So why is that? And we asked this question a few years ago. We did a study. We also called it Radio 2020. What a coincidence. It was in 2014 when 2020 seemed comfortable far away. It's not anymore. It's pretty close now. So why are pure streamers so strong? And what we found out is the first thing is that the signal quality is better. If you do progressive downloading, like the guys from Spotify do, or Deezer, or Pandora, they would know which song comes up next or which content comes up next and can pre-buffer that in the device. So if the network connection is lost for a short period, the signal won't drop out, unlike a live stream. The second thing is interactivity. If you have a nice OLED display in front of you, you want to do something with it, you want to swipe with it, you want to interact with it. With a typical normal radio app, maybe you could switch a channel or make the device louder or less loud, but that's probably as much as interaction as you would get. And the third thing is the personalization. So we are used to broadcast, right? So we're broadcasting the same song and the same content to everyone at the same time. Maybe there are some instances where this makes sense, like yesterday in the evening when there's a World Cup game and the whole world watches it. But is it really that important that the news are always at the top of the hour and somebody stands up 10 minutes too late, wakes up 10 minutes too late?
Иногда бывает, что кто-то просыпается чуть позже, на 10 минут.
So probably we have to think about that as well.
Обо всем об этом нужно
But also the
думать.
broadcasters have
Но
advantages.
также здесь вещатели имеют свои
immeasurable. People know our
преимущества,
brands,
потому что
they
pure
know
streamers
our presenters. And
имеют
we do more
много
than music, so we have a
преимуществ.
lot of
То есть мы
promotions,
делаем
we have
не
great
просто
content, we have
музыку,
news, we got weather service,
мы
a lot of
также
discussions in
различный
the program.
контент предоставляем, различные
let's bring
дискуссии и
those
так
two
далее.
worlds together. That's the
Давайте вот
idea.
это все
Bringing together
объединим.
the interactivity world
То
of
есть
the pure streamers on one hand and also the radio assets we have on the other one.
Радиоактивы, которые у нас
So
были
this is
до
how it
этого.
looks.
Это то, как
And
это
see if you
приложение
could start
выглядит.
a video now, that would be great.
Я думаю, что будет отличная возможность здесь это увидеть. Слышно, но только какой-то...
Он то, что далеко стоит от микрофона, он высокий, рассеивается звук,
да? Да. Вроде громко, но куда-то туда уходит.
Yeah? You want to start it? No?
Не работает?
Welcome to the Skip FM demo. You're listening to the live program of Krone Hit in Austria. Currently on air are DJ Tees,
Это
followed by
прямая
the news
трансляция
bed.
программы Кромхарт из Австралии.
Beste Musik, mehr von den besten neuen Hits gleich jetzt, 13 Uhr.
Krone Hit, Newsbeat, meistgeklickt und meistgeshared in
К
Österreich.
сожалению, не слышно.
Skip FM splits the live signal into segments. This enables listeners to skip every element.
In Russland einem 22-Jährigen drohen 7 Jahre Gefängnis.
And it also allows broadcasters to include video commercials into the simulcast.
Das Gesicht eines Mannes. Weder eben noch gleichmäßig.
These ads are ad server based, and according to the Digital Video Ad Standard, VAST, Skip FM also includes audio ads based on the Digital Audio Ad Standard, DAST.
Различным платформам.
Series 9, der effizienteste Rasierer der Welt. Nur von Braun.
After the ad insertion, the next song starts instantly. And you can skip again by swiping horizontally. And the next element from the live program will be played. In this case, the weather forecast.
И в этом случае вы слышите прогноз погоды.
Viel Sonnenschein, am meisten im Westen und im Süden, da auch am mildesten mit bis zu 17 Grad heute. Hier ist der Krone Hit Wettertrend, sehr ähnlich wird der morgige Tag. Es soll trocken bleiben, ein Mischmasch aus Sonne und...
If you don't skip the live program, it'll be played seamlessly right from the studio.
Bis zu 19 Grad.
Если вы не будете прекращать слушать эту программу, она и будет играться, транслироваться.
Es ist 13 Uhr und 3 Minuten, da habe ich nur eine Grenzwartezeit für dich. Und zwar
But if you want to skip, you can skip every element, except commercials.
То есть, если вы хотите, вы можете выйти и перестать слушать любой элемент, конечно, кроме рекламы.
In the old radio world, if you didn't like a song, you had to change the radio station. Now you can stay with your favorite station and simply skip the song.
В радиомире обычно, если вам не нравится песня, которая транслируется по любимому каналу, вы должны просто переключить канал. А в этом случае вам не надо переключать канал. Вы можете оставаться на своем любимом радиоканале, а просто переключить песню.
Even if you lose network signal, the audio is still playing.
То есть даже если в сети другой контент смотрите, песня продолжает играть, транслироваться.
Depending on network speed and device, it plays up to 15 minutes. If you're listening on a mobile device while traveling, traditional radio streaming would drop out frequently because you're entering a tunnel, you're riding on the subway, or too many people use the network.
Во время поездки в машине, то очень часто бывает, что пропадает сигнал.
You can do even more with Skip FM. You can add every song to your personal love and hate list. Depending on your local royalty agreements, you can use these lists to offer customizable streams. If a song is on a personal love list, it'll be played more often. If the song is on a personal hate list, it'll never be played again. All these features enhance the experience of your radio station on smartphones.
So we started with this app quite 1 year ago.
Один год назад мы начали.
First results. You can switch back to the in the slides, okay. Okay. So we have more than 180,000 installs, which is pretty good for a country like Austria, which is so big.
80 тысяч инсталляций у нас было, то есть загрузок, соответственно, вы можете видеть, это не очень, это очень даже неплохо для нашей страны.
And from the skips we also get feedback for music planning, so we can get a lot of data on which songs our audience like and which songs they don't like. And of course we get log-in data, because if they want to skip and interact, they have to log in first. So we have a lot of first-party data that we can also use commercial-wise. Okay, thank you so much.
Большое спасибо.
Thank you for that. I love the idea of a personal love and hate list. I think they should put it on Facebook. Is there anyone who wants to ask a question right now to any of the speakers? Okay. Just so we can break it up a little bit. We did start late, so if you're looking at your watches, we will still give you roughly an hour to eat. So.
Мы дадим только час на обед. Очень прекрасное приложение. Большое спасибо. Можете ли вы сказать, как это приложение помогло вам рекламировать, собирать деньги, привлекать аудиторию? То есть, получается, аудитория может просто переключиться от песни, да, если она ему не нравится. А может, нельзя переключить рекламу, да, вы сказали? Это очень интересно.
Thank you for the question. Yeah, you can make money with that because we're commercial radio. That's one of the reasons why we did it. So the first thing is that for the first time ever, you're able to include video ads into audio content. And in Europe, video ads sell a lot easier than audio ads do, because digital audio ads is a new product. It's hard to explain. And also the CPM for video ads is about 5 times the one of audio ads in my country. So every time you skip, you know that the screen would be lit, which gives you a good argument to serve video ads. Speaking of audio ads, it enables you to include an ad server, like Triton or AdSwiss or the typical technologies out there. And with those, you can have additional spot breaks to your FM spot breaks. You still can create even more inventory. Now, the interesting part is how to get the CPM up for the audio ads. And there it's important to have the first-party data to really enable your advertisers to identify people and to be able to target more specific than they can do now. Now they can only target by geo and they can target by OS, and that's pretty much it. But they cannot target by direct first-party data yet. In Europe we had this issue with the data protection. rules which came into place in late spring this year, so that postponed quite a few projects, not only with our company, with many companies. But we are pretty sure that's the way to go, to serve more specific ads to people who really like the ads and who interact and who really are interested in the product that you advertise. That's what we want to do.
Какая реклама, какого продукта
So
нужна именно этой аудитории,
commercial-driven
именно показывать эти
I think you
рекламы.
probably can talk to each
Ну
other
да,
at
то есть
lunch,
получается,
get some more information.
это
Anybody
приложение
else?
очень
Just a very
помогает,
quick
да,
one.
выбирать
Oh,
рекламу
there's
именно
one,
для
like,
определенной
right
аудитории.
up there.
Есть еще вопросы? Да, вот я вижу.
Okay, it's a good thing we have very young volunteers.
Очень
They run
хорошо,
faster.
что у нас есть молодые волонтеры, которые очень быстрые.
Можно я задам вопрос на русском языке?
Can I ask a question in Russian?
Были ли предложения какие
Was there any suggestions, offers
по разработке, ну, то есть
on this
были ли
application?
предложения о покупке?
Just one second.
Минуточку,
Channel one.
пожалуйста. Первый канал.
You got it? Okay.
Были ли предложения
Was there
о
any
покупке вашей
offers
программы
buying
из
your
других стран
program,
или из
your
других
application from the
радиостанций?
other countries or from the other radio stations?
Используется ли данная программа в других странах
Is
или
this application used in the other
другие
countries
радио?
or in the other radio stations?
Спасибо.
So yes, we do licensing.
Да, у нас есть
We
лицензирование.
are talking currently to companies mainly in Germany
Мы на
and
данный
in
момент
the
разговариваем
United
с
States.
компаниями, которые находятся в Германии
We've also been
и в США.
talking to companies in
Также
Russia,
мы
but we do
разговаривали с
licensing, and
компаниями
if you're interested in it, we can
То есть, если вы
sit together and work on a plan.
заинтересованы, мы
It's
можем сесть вместе и обсудить.
Okay. Thank you very much. So the question was whether or not the app is able to be licensed outside Austria and
То
whether
есть
it's
за
able to be
пределами
used.
Австрии
So I
это
think
приложение
that's
может
a
использоваться,
question for later.
имеет
We
ли
will
оно
move on. We
лицензию.
now have our last speaker,
У нас
Xi
последний
Lijian.
спикер.
If we can join us. Mr. Xi is a very accomplished newsman. He has covered just about everything, starting every major event, starting with the 9/11 terrorist attacks, 2001 Afghanistan war, 2002 Colombia crash, 2003 Iraq war, Indian Ocean tsunami, Katrina hurricane, all the way to the Brexit vote in 2016, but not the World Cup this year, right? So, with his vast experience for CCTV, and CCTV is one of the biggest television networks in the world, and probably a very diverse one as well, which is something that you're going to talk about. So please join me on stage, Mr. Xi.
Мистер Джи, приглашаю вас на сцену.
Good morning.
Доброе утро.
Good afternoon.
Может быть, добрый день даже.
I'm Xi Lijian from
Меня
China
зовут
Central Television.
Xi Lijian.
It's
Я
too
из
hard for you to
центрального
pronounce
телевидения Китая.
Chinese, so
На
you can call
китайском
me
очень
Alexei.
сложно
Is that easy?
произнести мое имя.
This one. I think maybe there will
Я
be a mistake
думаю,
because I'm
ошибка.
from a television station, not
Я
from
с
the
телестанции.
radio station.
Я не с
But I think
радиостанции, телевизионной станции. То есть.
it's an important thing. Television and
Я
radio
хочу
are
сказать
the
очень важную
traditional
вещь.
media.
Телевидение и
And
радио — это наши
maybe
традиционные
some of my thoughts and
СМИ.
experiences in
И,
the
возможно, некоторые
TV,
мои
in the
мысли
television
касательно
reporting is
телевидения
useful
и
for
освещения
you, for
мероприятий на телевидении
our
могут
colleagues
быть
from radio
полезны
station.
для наших
Okay, let's
коллег
start.
с радиостанции. Я надеюсь на это.
Okay. Dickens, a British writer,
Диккенс,
once had
британский
saying,
писатель,
a
когда-то
famous saying,
сказал, очень
this is a good
известная
time,
цитата:
and
сейчас
this is a bad time.
есть
So
хорошее время, есть плохое
I would
время.
like to use this sentence to
Я хочу
describe
использовать
the
эту
traditional
цитату для
media,
того, чтобы
the
описать
situation
традиционные
traditional media.
медиа,
This is
ситуации,
a
которая
bad area
касается
for traditional
традиционных
media,
медиа.
but it is a good area for traditional media. In recent years, traditional media have clearly felt the pressure from new media or social media. The new media is faster than us, than the traditional media. Easier access, more flexible. With these advantages, the new media or the social media get more attention and more advertising revenue. So, do the traditional media have no way out? I think that in Chinese, the crisis, means that danger and opportunity exist at the same time. If traditional media grabs the opportunity to develop integrated communication, there will be a great new area. We live in a new era of great transformation, development, and integration. The media industry is also undergoing a profound reconfiguration. In the new environment, we need to expand our approach to accelerate or deepen the integration of the traditional media and the digital media. What is important is that we need to innovate and disseminate the technologies, the new technologies and new applications, and we have to create a new mode of communication. This is already the consensus of the media organizations all over the world. In the new area, many traditional media is struggling to transform and adapt. This process is always painful because traditional media has no the integration genes. We don't have the integration genes. We need to carefully start our audiences and what changes have taken place in their needs. Nowadays, the audience has increasingly diverse needs. Through specific analysis, we can find the needs of audiences have following three characteristics: more convenient access, better content, and more powerful information platforms. Nowadays, people can get the information just on the mobile phone, smartphone. They do not to sit in the TV set, sit in front of the TV set and to wait the program to start. They just swipe and click on the mobile phone. They can get everything. So we must have the entrance, the mobile entrance or the either entrance for the audiences. The rapid update of communication technology makes it very easy to watch videos on the mobile phone. In China today, the most popular format is short video. Only 1 minute or 30 seconds, very popular. People prefer video, short video, more than text and pictures. The convenience of getting information makes people more lazy. Do you think about it? And people tend to look at news on one platform, only one, maybe one smartphone. They can get information, they can go shopping, they can take a taxi, they can make friends, they can comment on the news. And this kind of information service creates the more powerful platforms. Obviously, the mainstream of mainstream trend in the media industry is the mobile access, the video content, and media platforms. And in order to meet the needs of audiences and to meet the new challenges, we have effectively integrated and established an organization, named Integrated Media Organization, or center. Through this organization and the new mechanism based on this organization, we have achieved three aims. One is the versatile news gathering. The second is sharing across the platforms. And the third is distribution through multiple terminals and channels. Only in this way can the news gathering, news resources will be shared most effectively. At the same time, the innovative changes in the workspace, technology, and management will support the seamless integration and complementary advantages between TV media and digital media. And we attached great importance to a solid system and sound management. We believe that in the face of the future challenges, we must pay attention to three things. There are innovative, interconnected, and interaction. I think among the three things, the most important is the third, interaction. Interaction is the foundation of convergence and communication. Nowadays, communication is no longer one way. We should focus on the mutual benefit between traditional media and digital media. Based on the integration of traditional media with the modern terminals and our audiences, we can create a closed loop from the desktop, the computer, to the handheld devices, and to reach our audiences. But on the path of the future development, we will still face many problems. We have to change distribution mode. We have to improve means of communication. We have to improve organization, operation. In the March of this year, we integrated the original CCTV, China Radio International, China International Radio, and China Global TV Network, and established a new organization, China Media Group. We will use the traditional media and use the digital media, such as portals, news apps, to meet the diverse needs of our audiences. Okay, that's all. Thank you for this one. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So we've had quite a good panel presentation. So you've heard about Radio Romania and how you engage audiences and serve your communities on a country scale, one between continents, an example of commercial radio and how it tries to reach out and monetize in a very busy marketplace. And you've heard what CCTV is doing, and in a very diverse and very complex environment that they have. So, and I know that we've got one more session before lunch, so you've got exactly 45 minutes for the next session. So unless there are like really burning questions, I'll ask you to hold on to them till, there's one burning question. One very short one.
It's a burning question because there are most people of radio here, and I propose...
There's radio and television here.
Yes, but because of the proximity of Radio Asia. And I heard that you explained you learn a lot about video, etc. Urti is also open to radio. So maybe if you organize some platform like you organize, you could have benefit of the image that we distribute. That could be interesting. And there is a tricky part in this question, because we could have historical documentary from your neighboring countries. Could you use it? Because they maybe don't have the same approach than Romanians.
Thank you. Yes, this 500 video moments that we have now in this project can certainly be a platform of exchange with you or any other interested party, and we can talk about it more. Yeah, because now we have 500 those moments in this 5-year project of us. In the beginning, they're not all videos, but in the last 4 years, everything is now video material, so it can be really useful exchange.
Fantastic. So that's another opportunity to exchange content and video content. So all that remains for me now is to thank very much my panel. Thank you for your great contribution. I'm sure you will be touched upon on your presentations during lunch. So thank you very much, and I invite Dan back to introduce the next panel. Oh, there he is. Thank you.
I also would like to thank our panelists, and special thanks to Olya for moderating this session. Last session before lunch, Beyond the Hype of Big Data. We open now the third session, which brings into discussion one of the major preoccupations of broadcasters today, the big data issue. We are all asking ourselves how much the big data problem will change broadcasting in the future. Who sets the limit between big data gathering and privacy infringing? Our guest speakers are ready to answer, and I am delighted to introduce the host of this session, Mr. Steve Ahern, an old friend of ABU, and I am honored to add a friend of Radio Romania, Managing Director and CEO, International Media and Broadcasting Academy, and internationally recognized broadcasting and new media specialist, and a radio person, the author of the book called Making Radio. The floor is yours, Steve.
Thank you, Dan, and a great MC he is. Can I invite my colleagues up to the stage as I open this session, please? Thank you. We have a short time span for this, and all my colleagues have promised to keep to their 7-minute time limit. And in case they do or don't, my alarm will ring at 6 minutes, and that will be your cue that you have 1 minute left to finish. And if you keep going, then the alarm will keep ringing. Yes, Kazakh Telecom. Yes, please. Oh, it's not your name. Take the name away. Thank you. Our topic today is beyond the hype of big data. We're hearing so much about big data these days, how it can inform us of trends, how it can tell us more about our audience, how it can be used to visualize feedback to help us make decisions. There's so much big data can do, but there are cautions too. It still needs the human factor to interpret it. And there are privacy issues too. So I look forward to hearing about and learning about these issues from our learned panel today. Our speakers are Masakawa Iwaki, Head of AI, Artificial Intelligence Promotion at NHK Japan's Science and Technology Research Labs, Yulan Durmagan-Betov, who's just joined us up there on the panel, from our host country, Kazakhstan. He is Managing Director of IT at Kazakh Telecom Innovation Department. We have Vim Motgat, Manager of Audio Technology from Belgium's national broadcaster, VRT. We have Lawrence Galkov, General Manager for Radio Player Worldwide. And we have Gregor Jakowski, who is the digital champion of the European Commission for Poland. And they're going to speak in the order that they're listed in our program. So we have a tight agenda. Let's get straight onto it. I'd like to invite Masakawa Iwaki to begin. Please welcome him.
Thank you, Steve. I'm Masakawa Iwaki of NHK Japan and also the chairman of the ABU Technical Committee. So today I will talk about smart production technologies for TV program production using artificial intelligence in NHK Japan. So before that, I will show a video for the smart video production outline so that you can understand our smart production concepts.
Broadcasting is about to change. The merging of artificial intelligence and broadcasting will allow broadcasters to utilize mass data for the first time. What will this achieve? News gathering will change with the introduction of AI. AI will select information that will assist program production from among big data, such as social media topics and sensor information that cannot be fully processed manually. Unprecedented volumes of stock footage will be automatically analyzed through image and speech recognition, sorted and used to aid the editing process. Swift analysis of information and forecasting will become possible. AI technology will also be used when distributing information. Information will be converted automatically to content that suits the user. Look forward to the future evolution of broadcasting through smart production.
Okay. As introduced in this video, smart production consists of two aspects. The left side, there is the society and the smart production technology for intelligent program production using AI. The right side, there is a viewer. And in the middle, our broadcasters here. So in the news gathering part, there are big data analysis for extracting useful information and generating news manuscript. Second one is speech recognition for generating transcriptions of interviews or subtitles. And the last one is image analysis for generating metadata for searching materials. In today's world, social media platforms such as Twitter or Facebook contains vast amounts of information, and news writers and reporters are very interested in gathering it. For example, when fire occurs in some area, people are likely to post something like fire or many fire engine car are gathering along with some pictures. So in NHK, we have a special section designed for gathering news material from social medias, but this is quite annoying and laborious work 24/7. So in the newsletter can catch the post, they can rapidly gather the news materials and if they need. So we realize this kind of technology using the AI, artificial intelligence. This spot shows our special team for gathering news materials from social medias. There are over 20 young people working on it 24/7. So this slide illustrates the basic concept of our social media analysis system. Our system continuously watches social media. When someone posts a tweet that includes news-related information, AI catches it from among the vast amount of the posts. Then the post is shown to the news writers with summarized, so they can decide to use it or not. And if it is important, so they can start at this stage. So, therefore, we have been developing a system to assist in gathering important information using AI. So, you can see
здесь вы можете видеть систему анализа социальных медиа.
The video doesn't work. Okay, working.
Видео
So you can see the left sides are the tweet, around 80 million tweets in a day in Japan.
То есть получается 18 миллионов в день.
The AI catches the news-related information and categorized to four categories. There are fire or traffic accident, disaster or others.
Делится на 4 категории. Это различные дорожные происшествия,
our system can show information pertaining to what, when, and where to make it easier to understand for news reporters. The result of the system can be confirmed by the news producers and applied to the news program. Furthermore, the confirmed data can be used as the next learning data for AI.
Для следующего потока информации
today I briefly introduce only one example.
Сегодня я хотел показать только один пример.
Using big data
использование больших данных.
1 minute, okay. So Twitter is one of the SNS. Now we can use big data from open data like weather, traffic, financial information, and the broadcasted program from archives is also big data.
Также архивы являются
so
большими
human
данными,
resources
которые мы
in
можем
our
использовать.
broadcasting media is limited.
Источников
My message today
для
is to
вещателя
use
это
more big
недостаточно,
data
это
for broadcasting with
ограниченный
less human
охват.
resources. Thank you.
Я думаю, использование таких технологий потребует
Thank you very
меньше
much. We'll move
человеческих
straight on to
ресурсов.
our
Большое
second speaker
спасибо. Мы переходим к
from
следующему
Kazakh Telecom Innovation Department, Yerlan, please.
спикеру Ерлан
Please
из
welcome Yerlan.
инновационного департамента Казахтелеком. Добро пожаловать на сцену.
Thank you, Steve.
Большое спасибо, Стив.
Also, I would like to thank organizers of the event for inviting me today and giving me an opportunity to present to such a prominent audience. If one is to harvest data on my digital identity from the internet, he or she may probably find out that I'm an IT guy, a telecom guy, a tongue dancer, a Kazakh. I'm native from this very region of Kazakhstan. He or she may probably reasonably infer that I love the place where I live. This will be true. This will be partially true. What is not there in my digital footprint in the internet, that I love this place exactly for the same reason I hate it. It's just for its climate.
То, что вы не найдете
Living in
в
Astana
цифровых медиа,
is
это
like
то, что я
watching
люблю,
or even
равно в
augmenting
такой же
Fargo
степени это
series.
место, в какой
It's
степени я
frosty,
его и ненавижу.
it's snowy,
Здесь
it's
очень
cold,
холодно
and it's
зимой,
very cold most of the time. Minus
очень
52
много
degrees in
снега,
last January, and I'm not
минус
kidding.
52 градуса
And
было
the
в
reason
прошлом
I
январе.
mentioned Fargo series, I just would like to remind in a little scene from the
Я
season 3, when a villain called VM Varga is Googling on the Officer Gloria
напомнить вам
and cannot find
некоторый
absolutely
эпизод
anything on her,
из третьего
just an empty
сезона,
Google response
и
page.
там был
And the reason is,
злодей,
Officer Gloria, she's just, you know, doesn't
офицер
like internet, she doesn't
Глория,
like gadgets,
не
and she
любит
doesn't even use
гаджеты,
computers in
и
her
она
war in the
даже
police
не
department, and she keeps them
использует в
unpacked in the
полицейском
backdoor area.
участке
And this little scene
какие-то
provides a short
гаджеты.
answer to our today's, short but ultimate answer to today's
Злодей
panel
использовал
session.
эти гаджеты. И
And
здесь,
the only way to
мы
exclude the risk
можем
of infringing
найти
privacy and harvesting
ответ
digital
на свои
identity
вопросы.
is just to commit digital suicide and unplug from the matrix. So that's the only
То
way I
есть,
know.
мы не можем
But since we
просто
live in a
игнорировать
modern
наши цифровые
era,
следы.
I think it's
То
quite
есть,
impossible for some people.
Для
And if
некоторых людей это
somebody owns a
невозможно.
smartphone,
Если у кого-то
it's
есть
already
смартфон,
inevitable. Like it or
то
not,
это уже
data is
неизбежно.
there.
То есть уже
You know, I'm a
ваши
boring
данные
IT guy, a
находятся. Я
telecommunication
понимаю,
guy,
что
and
я
for me all this
скучный
big data,
айтишник,
and I represent
и
just the
со всеми
infrastructural
этими
layer of the
большими
problem.
данными, и я
And I view this
представляю
big
только
data as a sort of
инфраструктурный
remnants of digital metabolism of the whole society.
это
I need to
цифровой-
store,
это результат цифрового
utilize, pile,
метаболизма,
archive, and protect
всего
according to whatever you name
общества.
it. And when we telcos hear big data, we probably
мы
sort of
говорим,
perceive it as like big money, hopefully to earn,
обычно,
but for
когда
sure
мы
big
думаем
money
о больших данных,
to
мы
spend
думаем
on
о больших
infrastructure
деньгах,
regeneration, information
деньгах, которые
security,
можно использовать
so on.
для безопасности информации.
While
для
preparing for this presentation and this event, what I noticed that when the issue of big data in
Когда
relation
говорят
to
о
the
больших
privacy
данных
issues
и
is talked,
связывают их
most of the statements are formulated in dilemmic
частной
way.
жизнью,
On the one way,
обычно так формулируют
on the other way, on the one hand,
утверждение.
on the other hand.
С одной стороны, с
And
другой стороны,
I
как
allow
бы
myself
два
just quoting
противоположных
several
мнения.
citations.
Я хочу
It's either
процитировать.
terrifying or electrifying, depending on who does it and how the data are
Ужасно или
processed.
прекрасно, в зависимости
Is
от того,
data
как
gathering a
интерпретировать
participation
этот
with
процесс.
data or surveillance?
Что такое
The big
сбор
data,
данных?
the big data can be a
Большие
remedy or a weapon.
Большие данные
Seriously,
могут быть
even the today's
оружием,
event
так же,
states
как и
we will
средством
examine the dangerous borderland between big data
лечения.
gathering and
И
identity harvesting.
где
And the
вот
problem is
эта
it's hard to
граница
deal with dilemmas.
между
You really need to take
сбором
some
больших
part and
данных
justify
и
for
сбором
what reason you've
информации о
taken it.
личной
And here
жизни,
shortly,
о
since I
личности
will try to answer this
различных
question,
людей.
and I analyze
Когда я
like three
пытаюсь,
dilemmas of the big data. And the
ответить на
first
эти
dilemma
вопросы,
is
есть три
data
дилеммы
gathering.
касательно больших данных.
Is it like,
Первое это сбор данных.
does from the user point of view, does the users have a
С точки
choice
зрения
to
пользователя,
make this decision,
есть
whether data is
ли
gathered or
какой-то
somebody
выбор
else,
у
somebody
этого
person is
пользователя,
taking this decision for
может ли
him
дать
or
он эти
her?
данные или
This is
нет,
like the
или
first
кто-то
dilemma.
другой уже за него
Definitely data
решает.
is collected,
Это
but I think the
первая
problem here
дилемма.
with the big
То есть,
data is
конечно,
like,
данные
blurring
собираются,
boundary
но
between,
большие данные, как бы,
the data generated by
вот
users
эти
and
границы,
data
грани,
about the users. And this is like the borderland between these
скрывают эти
dilemma.
границы, грани.
The
То
second
есть,
dilemma is that
получается,
data ownership.
дает
Who
ли-
owns the
Вторая
data?
дилемма – это
And interestingly,
кто
you know,
является
modern social
владельцем
media
этих данных.
corporations,
Большие
they're working in, they're delivering a
медиакорпорации,
specialized,
которые,
personalized content, personalized
представляют
advertising.
различный персонализированный
And
контент,
they're using our content,
рекламируют
like
его
we
и так далее.
create it at almost
Они
no cost.
используют,
But we, as
контент,
users, we create
мы
an explosive
создаем этот
economic
контент,
value
а они
for these
просто его
social media
используют.
companies. And the dilemma lies here
То
as
есть,
well.
дилемма находится
Who is on which
именно
side
здесь.
of the new economy
На
the
какой
value of the
стороне
big data
новой
is
экономики,
created?
вот
And the
эта
third
ценность
dilemma,
больших
which I sort of,
данных. Третья дилемма,
chosen for myself,
которую
I
я
think
для себя
data
выбрал,
gathering is
я думаю,
okay,
что
yeah.
сбор
Yeah.
данных
Data
это
ownership
хорошо.
also sort of clear. But the third
Также, кто
dilemma
владеет
is
данными,
whether it's who uses this data and for what purpose. And I think this is probably what scares us. Okay, in the context of today's event, we're talking about the personalized content delivery, we're talking about targeted audiences, advertising, and so on. But of course, being like a regular citizen, we're thinking about the governments using our data for whatever, like national security reasons or intelligence. I think these are issues that the whole society is concerned more than just the media, probably, but like the whole use of our data. And in order to address all these issues, dilemmas, and concerns, I think all of us, like either being a regular citizen or a professional in the media, or just, a politician, we need to take into account all aspects of the big data. And here I'm talking about economical, political, legal, ethical, you name it. From the but I think it should also start from granular level, from the users. I think the main key to handling the problem of the big data and the privacy issues that we need to educate users, we need to educate surfers, because I think we need to empower them to make a decision what data is mine. And I'm really interestingly, I think Mr. Rudiger, you mentioned about this GDPR, General Data Protection Requirement, the European Union legislative initiatives, which became effective, I believe, 25th of May. And it is very interesting to see the colleagues. May, right? Oh, 1 minute, yeah. And it's very interesting to see the experience of our European colleagues, how it affects the whole society. And definitely on legislative level, should be very important. On technological level, we as a teacher, we work on that. We're using our cryptographic things, we're just separating personal data from the rest of the data. We're doing that. I need just to speed up a little bit. But I think two last points I would like to mention, which is also very important in handling big data. One point is the ethical norms, something like social responsibility. I think it's very important that if you're dealing with personal data of somebody else, you really need to take care of it with a maximum concern and focus. And I think such initiatives such as code of conduct, like professional ruling, it's very important, something which is not regulated, not only regulated by the law. And last but not least, I would also like to mention an aesthetic form of the big data. Since you are mostly in the media and in the content provision business, I would like to ask as a regular person, as a regular user, and if you know that somebody is surfing information about hemorrhoid symptoms, don't just try to bring him the information about the suppositories and creams. Maybe it should be more subtle and delicate and graciously driven, Maybe you start from the dentistry and then go all the way down. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yellen.
Дальше.
And
Большое спасибо,
very
Ерлан.
glad I wasn't here in
Я
January if it's
очень рад, что я
-52
не был
degrees.
в январе, если здесь
Our
было
next
минус
speaker is
52.
Wim Mordgat from
Следующий
VRT.
спикер
Wim,
Вим
please welcome Wim.
Моргат из VRT. Вим, вам слово.
So, good afternoon.
Добрый день.
I want to tackle another part of the big data.
Я хочу
So the first
рассказать еще
question
об
that
еще одном
raised when I
аспекте
was
больших
preparing this
данных.
presentation,
Первый вопрос,
what is
который был
big data?
поднят. Что
There's so many
такое
things to
большие
tell about
данные?
big data,
Очень много
and I
людей
try to
говорят о
tell
больших
something
данных.
differently than what we heard today already.
Я
It's
немножко
about
по-другому хочу об этом
to use it
говорить.
as for predictive analytics
использование
or
больших
for
данных
behavior analytics.
с
So using big
аналитической
data
точки
is not
зрения.
like climbing a high mountain.
Использование
It's not a
больших
very
данных
big thing
это
and not necessary. You can do it
не
also in
что-то,
very small steps. And that's what
которое
we try to do in our organization. And the main thing
просто
that we
так
would
использовать.
achieve with the
Это
big
то, что
data
мы
is to
делаем в нашей
increase our
организации.
impact,
То есть
being
большие
more
данные мы можем
relevant
использовать
for
для
our
того, чтобы
audience.
увеличить свое
So we
влияние
also worked
на
on the
аудиторию,
GDPR,
например.
the regulation on
Мы
privacy. So that's why we had a lot of work in the last 6 months to tackle all these issues on privacy. So now we have a VRT profile. So if you want to use the content of or log in into the websites or applications of VRT, you need to have a VRT profile with a number of data, personal data that we have. And the thing that we are doing right now is to couple this to the Adobe Analytics so that we have a match between the behavior of your listeners and the profile of your listeners. And that's these two things, if you can match these two things, you
если вы
can
можете
have a
объединить
lot of
эти две
information
вещи, вы
that
можете
can make your
увидеть
decision
очень много
in your work.
информации,
And
которая
making
поможет
decisions is
вам
not only a
принимать
thing for the research
решения в
department
вашей
like it
работе.
was for many,
И
many, many years.
принятие
All
решения
our
это
strategies are
не
based on
единственный результат
research done by the research
исследований,
department.
которые мы
We believe that
занимаемся,
big data
занимается
can
отдел
deliver
исследований. Мы
information
думаем,
on the
что
floor
большие
to
данные
the program
могут
people, to the news floor,
предоставить
to make the
информацию
day-to-day
для
decisions. And
ведущих,
that's
для
very
журналистов,
important
для
that
того, чтобы они
people on
каждый
the
день
floor
принимали
is getting
правильные
this data
решения.
and
Люди,
working with this
которые
data to
занимаются
make the
сбором
day-to-day
этой
decisions
информации, этих
in order
данных,
to increase the
они
impact
каждый
that
день
they will
принимают
have.
решения для того,
I will
чтобы
give you a few
увеличить
use
сферу
cases.
влияния. Я
We have
хочу
a radio station, it's called
показать несколько примеров.
M&M.
У
It's
нас
very
есть
close to the Corona
радиостанция
AIDS,
M&M.
that we have a public task as well. So our target audience is between 14 and 24, so it's a really young audience that we have there. At the end of the school year, so in June, they have the exams. And during the exams, we support these people making their exams, and then we make a special program, and the program is called Marathon Radio. So what we did, we used for this program, we used some data coming from our apps to see what's happening. First thing that we did, this is a graph showing how many people are using the app at that time. And you can see in the colors, when it's green, we have most of the people, when it's red, it's less people. One of the things that we decided was to have 3 concerts a day, to have a bit of entertainment for the students, a concert in the morning, a concert at noon, and a concert in the evening. And we put the biggest names in the evening. And after the first week, analyzing these numbers, we saw we have more listeners in the morning than in the evening. So if we want to have more impact with our listeners, it's better to have the big names in the morning and not in the evening. So we changed that from the second week. So we don't have to wait for the research department saying after 6 months, oh guys, you can have the concerts in the morning. You can know it right away. Using the statistics that you have yourself. Second thing that we like to do is we also see on the VRT profile where are these listeners using our app. Where are they living? And so if you have events for these exams in their neighborhood, you can push notifications personalized to the people who are living in that area, saying, oh, in your area, this is happening for you.
То есть говорить людям, которые живут в каком-то регионе, говорить им, вот в вашем регионе происходит сейчас вот это.
Yesterday I talked about the EV project. I won't explain it not in detail anymore. It's a use case for Radio 1. It's the news and sports channel. So what we did, we also used graphs to make decisions. One of the things that we saw in the Google Trends is that Radio 1 is the perfect station to do the project for the on-demand listening, but not the full program, but on the item-based. Because we see in the trends that this is the right place to do. So we are working on this project. In autumn, we will have this implemented in our app and on our website. And then people will have more relevant content, near live content, as I explained yesterday, in their app and in their website. So for us, big data is with small steps introducing this information on the floor so that people who have to make the day-to-day decisions in your company, that they can use this data and make the right decisions. But it's also important that they learn that when using this data, that afterwards there is an evaluation, seeing what was the impact of our decision, and then learn again and do it again. And in that way, increase the way that we are using this data in order to have more impact. So what we are doing nowadays is to create dashboards so that people on the floor can use the dashboards and have the dashboards themselves, in order that they are more aware of what's happening with the listeners. So for us, it's all about increasing the impact by giving data to the people working on the floor. Thank you very much.
влияние на аудиторию. Большое спасибо.
Thank you, Wim.
Спасибо большое.
Anytime. Our next speaker is Lawrence Galkov, the General Manager for Radio Player Worldwide. Please welcome Lawrence.
Thank you. Never before have broadcasters had the opportunity to know so much about their audience. No longer is data 3 months old before it becomes available, and based on a small but well-researched part of the audience, now it's instantaneous. So why is it important? Recently introduced GDPR regulation in Europe shows us how seriously governments are taking this data and how valuable it is to have access to data about people. It's the first regulation in 20 years, and it's vital because it's easy for companies to know so much about us all without us ever realizing what they know. Big data doesn't have to identify an individual, though. At Radio Player, we've always recognized the importance of data. It's so important that we've put large amounts of resources into developing our own insights, which we believe it's the best audience data that anyone can have anywhere. It tracks listenership station by station, minute by minute, and it tells us what people are listening to. It's really important to the broadcasters when they're looking to give data to advertisers to raise revenue. The more the broadcasters know about their audience, the more the advertisers know about the audience, the more valuable that revenue is. And it's quite interesting as well because, you know, we can identify radio stations by the shapes of the graphs that this data gives us. Here's a great example of a news station on the Radio Player platform. It confirms just what we believe about radio listening. You can see the breakfast peak at around 8 a.m. when listeners want to know what's happening in the world around them. Another peak at lunchtime for the midday news, the peak for drive time, and then people taking a last listen to the news before they go to bed. This tells me exactly what's happening, not some months ago, but on the day that I actually wrote this speech. And this is from a UK sports station looking at the graph over a month. You can see the average daily audience creeping up as excitement builds around the start of the World Cup, and then peaks for England matches. Maybe we shouldn't talk about the football now. The crucial Colombia match peaks at around 4 times the average daily figure. This is really, really useful information for a station program controller. They can see the impact of their content on their audiences. And I love this. This magic maps a day in Radio Player taken from web player listening. It's important as it shows how much people are listening in the office during the day. There we go. The map shows every instance of our web player as it's opened around the UK. On the graph at the bottom, you can see the peaks and the troughs. The quietest point is around 4 in the morning, as you probably would expect, but we're still seeing 2 Radio Player launches every second in the UK at 4 in the morning. During the morning, the audience builds for the web, actually starting to peak at about 9 o'clock as people get into the office. Probably not what you expect. There's a noticeable peak as well at about 12 o'clock. At this point, Radio 1, which is the BBC's pop radio service, had a live lounge featuring a major band who had been promoting their appearance on social media. The audience starts to dip around about drive time as people leave work, get in their cars and go back to traditional ways of listening. And then in the evening, it's interesting because listening holds up. This particular day, there was a major sporting event, and the map's dominated by the BBC's news and sports station 5 Live, by BBC Local Radio, and by the national commercial sports station Talk Sport. Talk stations dominate as the day ends, and people get ready for bed. So Radio Player's tracking streams. It's absolutely accurate. We track the point that the listener starts to listen to the stream. We stop counting when they move away from the stream, and we even stop counting when they turn the volume down because we say they're not listening. So that is very, very accurate information. And it's the fact that the data is anonymous isn't a problem. We actually want to know the size of the audience. We don't need to know the name of the audience, but we want to know the size of the audience. We want to compare one station against the other. And Radio Player's insights are so valuable that the Audience Data Agency in one of our countries has asked us to report directly into their tracking because they know that these clicks really don't lie. and they're using these statistics as part of their audience research. And this online audience is vital because it shows us young audiences as well. So this is where people are listening in the future, where the younger audience are picking up. And so we're able to track those young audiences, and we know how many people we're reaching. Now, I mentioned that Radio Player doesn't use individual logins for listeners to access our stations. It puts great pressure on us from a regulatory point of view, but also our research suggests that listeners will prefer to go quickly and easily to a station, just like they do on the radio. It doesn't matter, though, because personal logins can work through the Radio Player platform, and our friends here at Absolute Radio in the UK do just that. Note the all-important text on there as well, fewer ads and more music. If you have an account with Absolute Radio, you hear 50% fewer commercials and more music because Absolute can afford to deliver you those fewer ads because the data they have on you as a listener means that the adverts are far more relevant and far more targeted. Therefore, they're getting higher revenues for those commercials compared to what they're broadcasting over their traditional analog networks. So Radio Player technology allows companies like AdsWizz and Triton to provide targeted programmatic advertising for Radio Player stations where they can use the data from your phone. They know where you are and what you're browsing for and all your habits, and they can feed that in and provide you with the correct information and the correct commercials. It's big money for broadcasters. So big broadcasters such as Global in the UK use programmatic video pre-roll advertising. This is even more valuable than that in-stream advertising. It's highly targeted, and Radio X here, which is a global station, picked out a video of a Prime advert because it knows that I've got a Prime account, and they targeted that at me. So the agency chose this advert for me. Again, it's making Global a lot of money. To give you an idea, Facebook knows a lot about you. They can get around about $7 per 1,000 clicks. Instagram's getting about $5. LinkedIn and YouTube around $2. Radio for video pre-roll advertising can get you up to $25 per 1,000 clicks because it's really reaching the audience. Don't underestimate the value of your assets and the value that a strong online presence can return to the business. Finally, the other thing that big data does is it drives a Radio Player recommendations engine. Recommendations are vital to broadcasters and listeners as they lead listeners to the content that they might not have found or even know about or know that they're interested in. Because we know what else has been listened to on the device and where the device is, we can recommend more great content that ties in with the user's listening habits. Trending is really interesting too, as it uses the data to tell us what people are finding interesting. On this example, surprise, surprise, it's the World Cup quarterfinals being played, and TalkSport is one of those trending stations as people listen to football. It's great for broadcasters and great for the listeners as well. So a very brief and quick tour, I'm afraid, of why big data is really important to broadcasters and how we can make it work for us, even if it's anonymous. Thank you.
Thanks, Lawrence. $25 per click. I like the sound of that. Our last speaker is Gregor Jakowski. Please welcome Gregor.
Okay. It is hard to say my name. Also in China, a Polish name is absolutely hard to speak because my name is Zajączkowski. It is absolutely, I know this is one of the hardcore names of the world in this kind. Okay, I changed my presentation this night because if I look for the presentation last day, I see that everything thinking about World Cup. I put in my presentation some real-time data from the Polish television about Mundial, and I think that is very interesting for you. Okay, we think on big data system in the Polish television, the fundamentals for us is stream. We're building our data system based on the stream. We're looking for the authors, keywords, conversion between streams, changing keywords and source. The source is very important because if you're looking for the fake news in the era of Polish television, the author of the news is one of the most important part to find the fake news. A few words about us. National Polish Television, only in digital part. I present only this part who is working in digital. We have about 2,000 portals, million of unique users per month, hundreds of hours of video materials on VOD portal. We have something new. We have new SVOD portal. This is a very interesting place that we change thinking about national media tax. We try to change this thinking to offer. We offer the product. We give you many materials in this portal, SVOD portal. We have a very big program about digitalization of archives, and also we have fully implemented GDPR regulation. This is not easy for us because we're fighting half of year in this time. Also, we have in Dale about 2,000 streams of information in normal portals and in the social media. We also have central services for monitoring all the digital area around the National Polish Television. This is one of the most bigger digital system in the Poland for now. Also, we have a very important part. We looking for the protection of the TV. We're looking for the materials of the TV National Polish Television, who is published on YouTube, especially in the aspect of social copyrights. Okay. TVP Info. This is our main information portal of TVP, and this is one of the characteristic because we have about 9 million of viewers for this news daily on all the stream of information on TV, on social network, on portal. This is about 20. This is millions per month, and TVP Info is actually 5 related information streams. Because we have different news journalists for the television channel, different for portal, and different for Twitter and different for Facebook. This is not typical situation because we have for every stream we have other redaction. Okay, this is some of part of our visualization. We don't use one stat system. We don't use 3 or 5 monitoring system for one channel because we must compare. This is a situation. We compare information from the Genius system, also from the Google Analytics. This information is different, and we try to looking for the correct information. What is the exactly what is the web stat for this portal? This is interesting. This is a tool for the regional journalists because we try to compare every region in Poland in the one panel. This is a web statistic for every portal in region. In this panel is visible to all the journalists from the region on the map. This visualization helps to journalists to publish information from other regions, because if we see on a region on the north of Poland has a very interesting information, region around see this information and try to publish in this region. This is our real-time data from last night. This is a mondial statistic on the digital zone of TVP. We see for 40 days we have about 6 million unique users. We have 20 million sessions. And this is a very interesting analysis, because about 40% is 40% looking people who is looking on the World Cup looking via mobile. If you look for the next chart, you see the online geolocalization. And of course, in the center is the capital of Poland, Warsaw. And try to imagination. Thousands of people in Warsaw looking for the match on the phone. This is a vision from the science fiction film that more of 40% of people looking only for my skin and moving around the city. This is totally new for us. This 40% is absolutely new in our media, and we're thinking how to use this data to grow our audience in next months. We create a special strategy to protect information space. We're using all the possible tools to monitoring the digital space around the portals of TVP. We have similar to the Japan tools to monitoring social media. And this is in the background, we see a typical log. We're monitoring in every second about thousands of information on the Twitter, Facebook, and all the social media. And also we have a very advanced semantic analysis. This is fundamental to work with this many information. Okay. Tools. And on the back, what is the biggest threat to the future? We have problem with the fake news, but the true problem is this deep fake, because we get the information who is absolutely imaginary. This man on the left is created by the deep learning algorithm from Google. We get information totally looks original, but we have a different this picture getting different information. Okay, that's all.
Thank you, Gregor, and to all of our fantastic panelists. There's so many issues that have been brought up. We have a lunch break now, so now's your opportunity, once we break, to question everybody. Ask those questions that have been brought up in your mind from what everybody said. So we've heard about the combination of artificial intelligence and data being combined to make important decisions in Japan. We've heard from Kazakh Telecom that the only way to ensure privacy is to commit digital suicide. I love that phrase. From Vim, we heard about introducing big data clearly and slowly and carefully into organisations that have been around for a while, and some strategies of how to do that so they can use it to make program decisions. From Lawrence, we heard that big data can bring big money if it's used strategically, and I'll certainly be asking him about the dollar value of those clicks per thousand. And from Gregor, wow, an instant insight into World Cup audiences last night. He updated that presentation this morning. He was working until he had to load it into the computer for the presentation, so you have the most up-to-date information there. Please thank our panel of experts for their insights today.
Also would like to thank the experts. Thank you very much, Steve, for the excellent moderation. We have the lunch break now, and please be back in 1 hour at 2 o'clock. Thank you.